May I have no enmity and danger. May I have no mental suffering. May I have no physical suffering. May I take care of myself happily. May my parents, teachers, relatives and friends have no enmity and danger, have no mental suffering, have no physical suffering. May they take care of themselves happily. May your birds or breathing beings or creatures or individuals or personalities, may your females or males or noble ones or worlings or celestial beings or human beings or those who have fallen from happiness have no enmity and danger, have no mental suffering, have no physical suffering. May they take care of themselves happily. Be released from suffering. Be not deprived of happiness they have obtained. All beings are all lost of their karma. May I have no enmity and danger. May I have no mental suffering. May I have no physical suffering. May I take care of myself happily. May my parents,
There you go. Good evening. Okay, so let us start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Good evening, everyone. Everybody on the Zoom. So we are studying this book, What the Buddha Taught. We are on to chapter 5. It talks about the last part of the Four Noble Truths. So the fourth Noble Truth. And the last part is called the way leading to the cessation of dukkha. So we all have studied. The first chapter is talking about dukkha, right? Second chapter is talking about causes of dukkha. And then the last chapter is the cessation of dukkha. That means the abolishing of all dukkha, of all sufferings. And this, the last and very important one, the fourth one, is the way. That means how to eradicate dukkha, how to eradicate miseries, how to remove sufferings. So this is the path, the road, the way. So the Pali term for this cessation, leading to the cessation of dukkha, is actually very, very long. And you can actually read it from the page 45, the second line, dukkha nirodha agamini patipata arya sacha. So you can actually separate the words and you can easily pronounce it. So dukkha, that means suffering. Nirodha, that means cessation. Leading. Patipata is a path. Arya is noble. So noble path of the way leading to the cessation of dukkha. So it is called the path leading to the cessation, and also it has another name. It's called Majjhima Patipata. Majjhima, that means middle. Remember Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length of the discourses. So Majjhima, that means middle. Patipata, that means path, middle path. So Magga is the path. And so Majjhima Patipata is the middle path. Remember Dhammapada, Dhammapada. Pada is the path to learn Dhamma. So and also Pada has another definition, is the feet. The feet. So that means walking on the path. So Magga, this path is the middle path. And what is this middle path? Is this noble eightfold path. Okay, so you have done your homework, I expect, and I hope, and I wish. So, anybody brave enough? Anybody courageous enough to share your experience with reading this chapter? Anybody else? Anybody? Not anybody else. Anybody? Which line actually inspires you? Mali? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you. So these are thoughts that we had, both Tissa and I, and I have written down some notes, and I kind of will go through it really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So on page 49, the last paragraph.
41?
49.
Okay. Can you put a little bit louder? 49.
Oh, can you hear me, or you can't?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Page 49 at the bottom. So this line, which says, one may see that it is a way of life to be followed, practiced and developed by each individual. This line speaks volumes to us.
Yes.
One of the reasons is it's a way of life, which means there's no compulsion. When you practice Buddhism, you do it on your own and you reap benefits. And it's not also dependent on any higher power. You're free to practice it as you wish. And so I think that this explains why Buddhism has become so appealing to many people. And it's also very practical and very progressive in how it's applied then and even now. It's very relevant now with what's going on in the world. So the only thing that personally we find it, because there's so much freedom to practice, as lay people, we get easily distracted by other mundane things in life when we don't practice enough.
Unless you're motivated.
Unless you're really motivated.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's one of the things we thought about. It's a way of life which applies, and it's very relevant now.
Yes. That's nice. Great. Thank you. Yeah. I like the point that you actually talked about. This is a way of life that you understood from this passage. This is a way of life to be followed, practiced, and developed by each individual. And our life is not governed by any higher power. I like this very much because it's true. The power is within ourselves. And our destiny is actually depends on how hard we practice, how much we can let go, and how much we can renounce. It's not based on, and it's not based on a threat that a threatening that our destiny is not. How would I say? Our destiny is not being so determined by the threat that we get, or we don't have to be fearful of the threat that then we force ourselves to believe in this path, or force ourselves to walk on this path, because there's no fear, and nobody is threatening us, right? The Buddha keeps on actually encouraging us to see ourselves and to look at his practice, and to keep that in mind, that everybody is possible to become a saint and sages, and to become enlightened and liberated, because he has done it, and he was the vivid example of that possibility. And also, I like this on the last third line. It is a self-discipline in body, word, and mind, self-development and self-purification. It has nothing to do with belief, prayer, worship, or ceremony. When I read this book, actually, I felt that Rahula was so forthcoming or forward, because this book is was written in the 50s, I think. The first published was in the 50s, or 59. So he was really way forward to say that it has nothing to do with belief, prayer, worship, or ceremony. At that time, the Buddha's teachings have not flourished much in the West. And I think this is one of the few English books being translated and arrived to the West. And being able to have that courage to bring this out. And also, it says on page 50, in Buddhist countries, there are simple and beautiful customs and ceremonies on religious occasions. They have little to do with the real path. I just fall in love with these lines because it echoes with what I have been feeling all the time. And they have little to do with the real path, but they have the value in satisfying certain religious emotions and the needs of those who are less advanced and helping them gradually along the path. And here I totally agree. Those religious emotions and those religious ceremonies or religious occasions are necessary, especially in the introductory period of one person who just encountered the Buddha's teachings, and they are drawn to those religious ceremonies. They are drawn to those religious practices, but gradually, when one develops more and more in the practice, one should start to really implement or start to really see the deeper meaning and the deeper intention of the Buddha's teachings is really an inner journey rather than rites and rituals, rather than these religious ceremonies or occasions. But those are necessary for some people, really. I have seen that. If without those, they will never practice. They will never, learn about it. So at least they learn about it through these practices. At least they practice it rather than not practicing. Better late than never, right? So that's how I feel. But I really applaud his courage to actually bring this up in the 50s, in the early 60s. At that time, I think religions is very much of a very rites and rituals, like I am better, this superior savior and all that. So being able to say this, he really has that compassion for humanity, hope that this will eventually come through to human minds. The ultimate goal of practice is really your own liberation from your own entanglements. It's not really relying on others to do this for you, right? So however beautiful a path is, however long or short the path is, if you want to reach that destiny, you have to walk over there. Nobody can carry you. And I don't believe that, somebody carry you and then you only see a pair of footprints on the sand, in the sand. So I don't believe in that. We have to walk through the sand ourselves. So thank you, Mali. Great. You have any more, Mali? Okay. All right. So, anybody else? Don't just smile at me. Versha, please. Thank you.
Good evening. It's the one that caught my eye is very similar to what you've been talking about, you and Mali and Tisa. It's on page 47 at the bottom of the second to last paragraph. And it says, this moral conduct is considered as the indispensable foundation for all higher spiritual attainments. No spiritual development is possible without moral basis. And that just struck me as being so enormous, because you have often used a metaphor of a turtle that just even encountering the path is so hard. You have to, it's that turtle that swims and swims, and then he comes up and he pokes his head through the lifesaver. Yeah, so for us to encounter is already so difficult and so precious. And then those of us who are attempting to be on this path, we have to sort of navigate this world, and even unintentionally for us to be moral and ethical, like we might say the wrong thing, or we might unintentionally offend. And I was thinking, wow, like there's so much work within ourselves. But again, connecting to what you were saying earlier, that it really is incumbent upon us to take those steps and to be aware and to be alert. And so I found that both daunting and also, that this is the path. It's so difficult and not difficult, but well, it is. It's difficult.
It is tough.
Challenging.
It is tough.
It is. But it's within us. And I think that's the good part.
Did you see hope?
Yeah, well, I see hope after being here.
Oh, good.
For so many years, yeah.
Okay,
but
good.
that's the turtle part of it. You have to encounter this.
Yeah, good. So you're quite optimistic that you will get there one day.
I'm moderately optimistic.
Okay, good. Wonderful. That's nice to have that faith and that hope. We need that. We need that faith and hope. Yeah. It is really not easy, because human minds have so much limitations. We could hardly go back to our past lives and knowing what we have gone through and why we are being like this, who we are right now, because we didn't know those many past lives that we had. But Buddha knew himself. He knew. He was meditating, and he has gone back 1 life, 2 lives, 10 lives, 100 lives, many lives, and he said, "Oh wow, I've seen those past lives, and then I've seen those past lives of all humans, of those human beings, and oh wow, but we haven't got that kind of jhana, meditative power. We haven't got that strength. We still have so much of this. We have this 99.999% of human deluded mind. And so it's so difficult to comprehend that it is really possible. So the faith has to kick in all the time, so that we don't forget about that, and we kept remembering, the importance of faith to bring us, closer and closer to the goal. As I can remember where in this book, what the Buddha taught is that remember those many steps. I mean, not what the Buddha taught. In the Buddha's words, those many steps that you have started to walk on, going forth on the path. The first one is faith. Remember, giving years, visiting, and analyzing and all that. So that is that is very, very crucial. The faith, of course, is not, as I always say, when we started off, we have a little blind faith. But once we tasted the water, the Dhamma rain, there's no more blind faith anymore. Because if it is blind faith, you cannot go on. Because it's too tough. The path is too difficult. But having said that, the path is also very rewarding, right? And you can see, oh, it's not just me suffering. I have so many brothers and sisters also suffering. So we are in the same boat. I have many companions. I have many acquaintances. No problem. I can have a big smile and then start over again. So we are not alone. But now we look at this this human world. So everybody is so lonely. I mean, especially with this fast advanced technologies, you just keep chasing and chasing. It seems that there's no end to it. But with this, we have such a big family of Dhamma brothers and sisters, and we see their difficulties, but we see the perseverance, and we see the fruits, and I can do that too. I can do that too. They keep giving us faith, and we keep giving them faith, so we support each other. That's the importance of a Dhamma family, a Sangha, or household Sangha or monastic Sangha. Yeah, that's great. Actually, I did not underline those lines that you talk about. It's clear, it's clean. Anyway, that's great to actually bring it up. Yeah, indispensable foundation. So wonderful, right? For all higher spiritual attainments. It's so perfectly right, because with this strong foundation, of course, it talks about the moral conduct, right? It talks about the third, fourth, and fifth, the right speech and the right action, the right livelihood. That is the ethical conduct. And ethical conduct, does it only apply to us who actually call ourselves the student of the Buddha? No, it applies to everybody. Why? Why do we have laws? Why do we have laws in the country? Why do we have national laws? Why? Because they want order. Why do they want order? Because people are not disciplined enough to discipline themselves. So they need order. They need law to put people in the right perspective. So you don't stand there. You have to stand here. You don't drive that way. You have to drive this way. So make sure that the world is not chaotic, because human minds could easily become chaotic and confused. So it needs laws. But these are the disciplining factors that one need to put into their life. It's not being forced onto them. They need to have their own volition to follow them. And these rules do not just apply to the so-called Buddhists or so-called meditators or so-called people having taken 5 precepts or 8 precepts or like us 348 precepts. It's for everybody who is walking on this earth and standing up as a human being. Because we are pack animal. And between us, if we need to create harmony, we need laws, we need rules. Otherwise, we step into boundaries. We step across the boundaries all the time and create disharmony, right? Yeah, good. Thank you. Anybody else? This is a very simple chapter. So you have no problem. Oh, Thomas.
Hello.
Hello.
I thought I'd just add a few comments, if I may.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
So I was reading through, the different breakdowns of like, what does right speech mean, right action, which compelled me to look at the Mahasatipatthana Sutta book I have, where he articulates it in Pali, and they're just so simple, just like, like I'm going to just go on a little bit for a moment, like, what is it? Right. Samaditi is just the Four Noble Truths. And then there's just three things that make up Samasankapo. And there's just like it, when I read the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, I feel like I just need a little bit more exposition than the really brief description that he offers in those teachings. And then what I often go to when say, right, Samasankapo is like, renunciation, getting a mind free of craving, and I think free of violence. And obviously I really like that. But I think the trap I fell into, which is what I mainly want to share, and then a follow-up, is that, and it's kind of, I don't know the person who spoke first, but talking about how it's a way of life without sort of fear. And when I was practicing like probably too intensely, I felt no one told me, but internally I had this, I must be a certain way. And if it says, renunciation or no craving or no aversion, then I have to be that way, even if I'm not that way, which led to, as you know, Sifu, some problems for me on a pretty serious level. And so I always get a little wary when I read those things, because for me, it was more nuanced. And I found I didn't have a guide to help me through that nuance. And so I just kept going down this hole of force and strain with very little self-acceptance. And then problems arose. And then the fruits of those problems was actually starting to come more to Polam and develop a relationship with you and the Sangha there. And to have a live teacher, to have you, like a very human, wise person, was and is so incredibly helpful, because you know me and you can help me through the nuance, which when I read these books, or if I read the Satipatthana Sutta, it just seems so sparse. And my inclination is to like, well, I'm going to be that way then. And even though I'm suffering, and it just doesn't work. So the summation is that I'm just so incredibly thankful to have you as my teacher, to have the opportunity to come and meditate and serve, because it's helped me tremendously. So I had a hard time the acceptance was the hardest part. The confirmation to the teachings was easy, but it was injurious. So it was really, I had to work on renunciation of renunciation, or something like that.
I forgot where in the Majjhima Nikaya or in the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha always asked the students to check their teachers, whether the teachers are actually behaving because of fear, or the teachers are really behaving or practicing because they are really practicing. Remember that? I think
I don't know that one.
You don't know that one?
No.
It's actually if you got the book by Bhikkhu Bodhi in the Buddha's words, it's somewhere there. It's somewhere there. I could easily find it out tonight and let you know.
Okay.
I want to come back to you is when you actually study the Satipatthana and those words, and then you fell into your own rabbit hole and creating so much difficulty when those things coming up. So that's why the Buddha said the cessation of suffering is Majjhima. Is Majjhima, is middle path.
Yeah.
It's middle
I didn't
path,
know that.
right?
Yeah. I thought I knew.
And this Majjhima is right, is Samma.
Mhm.
It's a Samma path, it's a right path. Why it is a right path? Because a lot of people, when they think of right, for example, right understanding or right action, they would think that, oh, then you do this, then you're wrong.
Exactly.
You see? So there is, it's not, this right, this Samma, should not be considered as a commandment. You get me? Should not be considered as a commandment. And it should be actually considered as a very wise, a very wholesome, a skillful, ideal, something that is complete and coherent. And also, very important is, it carries a sense of equilibrium. It has a sense of equilibrium. It's just like a surfer surfing in the waves, Australian Ocean. You can see those wonderful surfers surf through big waves. Why? They could maintain an equilibrium while they stand on that surfboard, and they surf with the wave. They surf with the wave. They won't be taken down by the waves, but they surf with the wave. And when they ride with the wave, they become the waves themselves. And the waves, you don't have to be fearful of the waves anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes, I'm not quite there yet.
I'm not quite there yet either, but it's really neat. We really need a equilibrium path, a path with equilibrium, a very balanced path. Don't go too extreme. That's why the Buddha said, it avoids two extremes. One extreme being the search for happiness through the pleasures of the senses, right? The sensual pleasure, which is low and common, unprofitable, and the way of ordinary people. The other thing is the search for happiness through self-mortification in different forms of asceticism, which is painful, unworthy, and unprofitable. Page 45, the first paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
So when students are practicing very strongly, but in the back of their mind, is there equilibrium there? I just finished teaching a 10-day and got an email from one student saying that he wanted to promote this meditation, and he kept telling people this and people that, and he was meditating, blah, blah, blah. And his friends thought that he was psychotic. And I said, of course you're over-enthusiastic. Right? Over-enthusiastic. And then you try to push, you try to hard sell. I told him, I said, the best hard sell is you change yourself. Your changes, people see your changes in your manner, in your mindset, in your behavior, in your speech, in whatever. That is the testimonial for recommending this kind of meditation.
Yes.
And I said, yes, you are a householder. You need to focus on how to maintain an equilibrium in your life. meditation could be a part of your life, but not like pushing the car to 300 miles per hour, but it can only run 70, right?
Yes.
So that way you are hurting yourself and you're losing that equilibrium. You lose that equilibrium. So I'm so glad that, you realize that. And then, welcome to the Sangha. Welcome to the big family, Thomas.
Thank you. I am very thankful. And I'm wondering if I could make one other comment.
Sure.
So it's page 48, where he's talking about the jhana factors. And in particular, I wondered, for a long time, I wondered about PT and Sukha. And I know in your instruction, because they're in the tetrads of the Anapanasati, I always, and maybe this is a similar theme, but I always thought, like, when we're talking about PT, like that super joyful feeling, or I always thought it was going to be like some like, oh, and then there'd be angels singing, and it would just be like, I'd be like overloaded with like pleasant feelings. And listening to you, because you teach that often, and I guess I reflected on myself that I was looking for something, but that I thought wasn't there. But I think at times I've actually experienced PT, because it's not noisy or, boisterously pleasant. It's just this, I think you might have even said it, just that the pleasance of a calm mind, a tranquil mind. And it's like, oh, I know that. Yeah, the contentment. And so a couple weekends ago on the Sunday, sitting there in the hall, it was like I was in that PT feeling state. And it was just like, when the bell rang, I was like, I didn't want to move, but it was time to move. So again, to have a live teacher is so fantastic. So thank you for listening.
I'm very contented. That's why you can see me smiling all the time.
Yeah.
As I always say in Anapanasati, I mean, I just love that teaching, and I got so much from it by teaching it, and I just love the idea of piti not being like, oh, like this.
Yeah,
right?
It's so simple.
It's so simple. I mean, I'm here talking to you. I'm so contented. I already feel that pity in me. I have that joy. I'm sharing my views with you, and I'm sharing my experience with you, and you are sharing your with me. We should be both feeling pity, right? It's so
Correct.
joyful. and why do we always have to, frame it up as pity should be like this and to be painted pink and yellow and green? Yes, it's so wrong views. That's why the Eightfold Noble Path, the most important thing, the most important two factors are the right understanding and the right intention.
Yes.
Right? So if those two are missing, however much pity you feel, there's not really much pity.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Great. Oh, wonderful. Good. I'm glad.
Thank you. Me too.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Anybody else? Irene.
Let me tell us hi
Hello.
everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So actually the whole chapter is very important. It's not just a certain paragraph to me, because all the Eightfold Paths is starting from the sila. Without sila, you cannot gain concentration. Without concentration, you cannot gain wisdom. especially page 49, page 40, yeah, the right understanding.
Yeah.
The right understanding of the paragraph talk about the right understanding is very important to understand things as they are and as they really are, and seeing things. And also without practice, it's really hard to really see the things are, because without the calmness and the right understanding, and you're always adding your own story to what you see, what you hear, that's why I think it's very important. And also the middle path, Majjhima Patipata, that is really, when I start reading the chapter, it brought up my memory about my experience from my 10-day meditation retreat. It's okay if I can share? Is it okay to share?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that was like last year, in February last year, and I was attending 10-day meditation retreat in Florida. About this day 6, we were learning about Satipatthana, the 4 foundations for mindfulness. So on day 6, we have walking meditation and sitting meditation. And during that afternoon, on day 6, when I'm doing my walking meditation, and it just, something just came up, when I walk and then lift up, I still literally remember I lift up my right foot and trying to put it down, and all of a sudden, there's great emotion coming out, the big faith and gratitude came up, and I couldn't walk. But this is like one thing was like in my mind saying, yes, I'm walking on the middle path, the right path, not to the right, not to the left, and not to the right, and huge gratitude arose. And for 2 teachers. So Sifu, you're one of them, because you taught the 16 steps on the Panasati. So in the way, explain it and then easy to absorb and practice. And so I understand, when practicing, during the retreat, understand how to practice the Satipatthana, and also Satipatthana, because it's very hard. Before learning the 16 steps, contemplating the body in the body is easy, like physical. But contemplating the feelings in the feeling, a consciousness is the most hard, and also the Dhamma is not easy. But because of that, because of 16 steps, and then during the practice, that Majjhima Patipata, the walk, just that aroused, and then it really, and I got it, and I understand how to practice the Satipatthana as well. So that's my story. So and a lot of vows automatically come up. It just popped, and it just is amazing.
Good. Thank you for
So
sharing.
this chapter is very very good.
When you talk about right understanding, as I said just now, the 2 very important factors that affect this whole path, or how we practice, is just these two very important factors. They could be the pioneer, the right understanding and the right intention. So you all have heard about of the story of the elephant, right? So, story of the elephant. So there's in Udana chapter 6:4 is about the story of the elephant. And this actually, the blind man and the elephant, is actually a vivid metaphor or a vivid example of right understanding. So the Buddha gathered a birth-born blind man, and then asked them to go and touch the elephant. So some of them are given the head, some of them are given the tusk, some of them are given the trunk, and some of them are given the tail to touch. So after that, he reported to the king that he had done letting all these blind men to touch the elephant part of the elephant. So, and then he said, "Tell me, blind man, what is an elephant like?" So these people who had been shown the head of the elephant, they said, "Oh, an elephant, Your Majesty, is just like a water jar, because it's so big. It's just like a water jar that they carry on the head, on the top of the head." Those who had been shown the ear, that means, let them touch the ear, replied, "An elephant is just like a winnowing basket, like you blow, like those winnowing basket." And those who had been shown the tusk replied, "An elephant is just like a plowshare." Those who had been shown the trunk replied, "An elephant is just like a plow pole." So it's on page 215 in the Buddha's words, the Bhikkhu Bodhi Buddha book. Those who have been shown the body of the elephant replied, "An elephant is just like a storeroom." So it's big, huge, wide. So, and each of the others likewise described the elephant in terms of the part they had been shown. Then saying, "An elephant is like this, and an elephant is not like this," because they all only touch a certain part of the elephant. So when they were fighting with each other like this, the monks are the wanderers of other sects, blind and sighted, and thus they become quarrelsome. He said that he said even monks who are really not practicing the right path, they are just like these blind people, touching part of the elephant and believing the elephant is just like that part. So he said they become quarrelsome, disputations and wrangling, wounding each other with verbal darts. So this is the right understanding. So that's why right understanding is very, very important. But when we look at this path, of course, right understanding is important, but there is one factor which I think is the most important of the importance. So let us look at this path. So you all finished? Even though you're not finished, I think you will say, "Oh, let's see, we'll talk." So right speech, we all know. So right speech, we all know that we need to speak honestly, and no gossiping, and no harsh, and no idling speech. So there are 4 parts in right speech. So right speech. I wanted to make sure that I have actually explained the word right, samma, enough. So with right speech and then the right action. So right action, it is bodily actions. It's no killing, no committing adultery and that. So, and then there is right livelihood. So with right livelihood, the Buddha said, the right livelihood, there are 4 different kinds of livelihood that one should not be engaged in. Anybody could tell me? 4 kinds. Or 5 kinds, 5 traits.
Intoxicants like alcohol.
Okay, intoxicants like poisons, okay? Like meat. Huh? Weapons, yep. Trading in living beings. Like, what do you call that? Smuggling people?
Human trafficking.
Yeah, human trafficking, yeah. Those are, and then trading in intoxicants and trading in poisons. So is poison equal intoxicant? No, part. I think intoxicant is one part and poison is another part. Poison you can call, in the old days, the DDT is poison. So what is poison nowadays in our world? Nuclear weapon. That is weapon and also poison. What about the nuclear, the polluted nuclear water that the nation throw into the Pacific Ocean? Is that poison? Even though that is not a career, that is not a job, that is not a trade, but it is still an unwholesome deed, right? So these 5 trades, remember that, is called livelihood, the wrong livelihood. When we talk about this livelihood, yeah. Should we go on? We don't have much time. Okay. We don't talk about that. You can read about this, the proper use of wealth. Remember the proper use of wealth? Page 126 if you want to read this. So well, if you make some money, if you're a householder, you make some money, how should you distribute your wealth? Offering to your parents and offering to your brothers, offering to your acquaintances, offering to the sangha, and keeps some for saving just in case that your house get burned down, you fall sick or whatever. So that's how to distribute your wealth. That is also belongs to right livelihood. All right. Okay. So right livelihood. Samma ajiva. So that is considered as ethical discipline. All right. So that is number 3, 4, and 5. Then we look at number 6 is mental discipline. Part of mental discipline is right effort. Who can tell me my famous story of right effort? The little piggy. Right effort. No? What is right effort? Oh.
She does.
No, it's okay. So if you have good characteristics, if you have good characteristics, you want to develop them. If you don't have a good characteristic, you want to, and you want to protect them, keep them going. So develop them and keep them. And then if you have bad characteristics, you want to eradicate them and protect yourself from getting them.
Why do you use characteristics?
I don't know. Right effort. So qualities.
Yes.
Yes, qualities.
Characteristics is different, isn't it?
Qualities.
Yeah, qualities, yeah, our inner qualities, our human qualities, right? Yeah, qualities is, yeah. So if there are wholesome qualities and you don't have it yet, let it arise. If you have it yet, let it flourish, right? So if unwholesome qualities, if you don't have it yet, don't plant them. Don't plant those seeds. If you have it already, correct them, right? Those are the right efforts. You put the efforts into the right place, doing the right thing, developing the right qualities. Okay, so that's number 6, the 6th factor, samma vayama. And then the right mindfulness, samma sati. So you all know about mindfulness. You are the expert in mindfulness. I don't have to explain any more about mindfulness, samma sati, right? So, and then right concentration. Also, you could be a half expert in samma samadhi already, so I don't have to explain samma samadhi. So 6, 7, and 8. So these 3 factors are mental discipline. Okay, you develop your mind. You cultivate wonderful qualities to your mind. And of course, the Buddha said the wonderful qualities of each enlightened human being is what? 2 wonderful qualities. Yeah, karuna, right? Karuna and panya, wisdom and compassion. Wisdom and compassion. So you do need right speech, right action, right livelihood are helping you to develop what? Compassion, right? Right livelihood, you don't kill, right? And right speech, you don't lie, and you don't, those are developing compassion. I don't like people lying to me because that makes me suffer and I'm not happy. So I don't want people to be unhappy. So I won't lie to people. So that's compassion. So 6, 7, and 8 is the mental discipline. So what about the first and the second? That is the first is the samadhi, right understanding, and the right intention. So these two, okay, so these X factors, I'm not very good with PowerPoint, so I always have problem trying to put graphs or circles or whatever into it. So I put all of them like this. But I want you to tell me, are all these factors lined up in a linear way? Oh, there is a big no here. Lori, why not?
Well, because they're all developed at the same
Michael from...
Thank you, Kwok. Because they're all qualities that you develop at the same time.
Simultaneously.
It's just not, first I do this and then I do that. It doesn't work that way.
So you think that it's not a step-by-step thing?
No.
Okay. Very good.
Do I get a star?
You almost fainted, right? Nice, very good. So it's not a linear connections, but are they all related together? Do they have a strong connections? Oh, Ma has nodded. So it's your turn, Ma.
Yes, they support each other. Intervine, like they support each other. For example, if you have the right intention, you wouldn't kill.
Yes.
You have the right action. And then with the right action, you might, you might develop, the right mindfulness because you have less disturbance, for example.
Okay.
Or the right concentration because that's just the example. So they support each other in a complex way, but it's also simple. So.
Yeah. Very good. So among these 8 factors, which one do you think is the, what do you call, something you put into a coagulating agent? Precipitating agent. Which one do you think it is? 8 factors. Or which one do you think it is? Omar? Yeah.
So you're saying which one is the starting one?
No, which one is the cohering, holding everything together?
Oh, I think it's the right view.
All right. Okay, right view. Right mindfulness versus that. Anybody else? We have almost 20 people here. Right intention, somebody said. Samadhi.
Yeah.
Samadhi, right understanding. Okay. Who else? Somebody's here said right mindfulness here. Did you say right mindfulness? Did you say right mindfulness? Okay. What about you, Versha? Right mindfulness? Who else? Hey, you have to have some view. Come on, Molly.
Right intention.
Right intention, okay. Anybody else? Who has finished a master's degree in Buddhism? Who has just finished a master's degree in Buddhism? Like,
my guess is right effort.
Right effort, okay. Who else? Ma.
Sorry, I just want to
change your
clarify.
mind?
Yeah, I was thinking it's the sila, it's the morality, but it has. Yeah, never mind.
Sila, oh, never mind. Sila and morality and never mind it. I like that. Still have to mind it though. Yeah. Anybody else? I shouldn't say coagulating agent or precipitating agent. That's quite misleading. But who really holds all these together? Which one really holds all this together?
I think it's intention.
You think it's intention? You think it's understanding? Ma, is you gay? Well, I thought you said never mind.
Sorry, I changed my mind. The right effort.
Right effort, okay. You're all correct. But this is not what I think. I myself feel that right mindfulness is one very important factor among all these factors. Without right mindfulness, you will not actually proceed to right effort. Right? How can you behave? How can you put in right effort if you're not mindful? If you do not have the correct kind of mindfulness. I tell you, this right mindfulness is not simple mindfulness, it's sammasati. In sammasati, you need to have that right understanding. So with sammasati, you already understand the way it is. And you already understand impermanence. And you already understand dependent origination. So with the right kind of mindfulness, with that right kind of understanding already embraced by right mindfulness, you will have the right intention. You will definitely have a correct kind of intention. You won't go wrong. But without mindfulness, being mindful, even though at the back of your mind, you may have right intention, but the efforts that you put in or the actions that you really put out could not be sama. This is how I feel. You agree? Oh, okay. Maybe you should contemplate a little bit more on this. And this, I think this is, now I find the term to describe right mindfulness, a gelling agent. It gels everything together. It not just precipitate, it gels, it holds coherence. So in order to perform right speech, one has to be mindful. Right? Otherwise, we just. In order to develop the right concentration, we need that sammasati. Look at those people who are actually competing in the Olympics or in all these big sports games. They are actually very focused. But that is not the right kind of focus. The right concentration helps us to develop a very steady, stable, still state of mind, so that we see how this self and I, me, and mine trick us. But for those people who are competing in those sports, they actually need to amplify their self. They need to win. I need to win. I'm the winner. I'm the gold medalist. So, right, it's different. So I feel that the right mindfulness for me is the gelling agent for these seven factors. That's how I feel. But you can disagree with me, but I want you to contemplate and reflect more on this. And come and tell me that, you know, you don't agree with me. Give me the reasons why you don't agree. Okay. Did I miss something in the chat? Okay. So, anything else you want to discuss? So, in here, of course, the Buddhists that, I mean, in this book, it says, remember, do not go to the two extremes, right? And the two extremes is actually, one extreme is the sensual pleasure, and you can actually go into Bhikkhu Bodhi book, page 200, in the Buddha's words. I don't know whether all of you have this book, 200. And it's here, it says, the pitfalls in sensual pleasures. The pitfalls in sensual pleasures. And it gives you many, actually, example. The first example is just like a sensual pleasure have been compared to a skeleton by the Blessed One. They provide much suffering and much despair. Or sensual pleasure can be compared to a piece of meat. They provide much suffering because they keep fighting. Or a piece of bone with no meat. Okay? Or it can be compared like a blazing grass torch and went against the wind and burning the one who's holding that blazing glass torch. Or sensual pleasure can be compared to a grass torch, and they provide much suffering. Or a charcoal pit and two big guys, you know, grabbing this man and trying to throw him into the pit. And of course he will struggle here and there. Or the pain of the leper, remember? And so when the lepers have all these sores, all these boils, of course the pain, the heat is very soothing. But when he is completely healed, the pain could be a source of suffering. The heat could be a source of suffering, right? So sensual pleasure, the Buddha always said that, you know, you have to watch it. You have to be very careful with it. Otherwise, you will end up in all these pitfalls, in all these dangers, being trapped by these dangers of sensual pleasures. So, also is the Buddha also explained is, you know, why we need all this right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness, and right concentration to live our life, so that we don't practice the wrong way. And also in here is which part is it? Remember the story about a singular. Yeah, he actually when his father passed away, he actually wake up every morning to pay respect to the six directions. You remember that story, right? the north, the east, the west, the south, and then the nadir and the zenith, right? And so every morning he kept prostrating like that. And then one day the Buddha went by and asked him, "Why did you do this?" He said, "Because my father told me that I do this, then I will be, free of fear and I will be protected." The Buddha said, "No, you won't be protected just by prostration to these 6 directions." But what does these 6 directions represent? I remember, see if I can remember clearly. So the east direction is the parents, the father and mother. The south direction is the teachers. The west direction is the wife and the children. The north direction is friends and companions. The nadir is the servants, the helpers, the workers. And the zenith is the Brahmins and the ascetics and all that. So the Buddha said, if you needed to be to feel safe and protected, you need to look after these people, not just prostrating to the 6 directions. And that actually make up, I could say, a social system, as how a society should govern itself, and it's just by this. How should you look after your wife, and a wife, how should you look after your husband, and being parents, how should you look after the children, and being children, how should you look after your parents, so on and so forth. And so that is, I think, it's the 6 directions. Forget which page. 100. Forget which page. Can't find it. You find it and you tell me. So he explained very clearly about this. We need to be wise. We don't just blindly believe. Okay. All right. Any more? So as a conclusion, as Versha started the whole chapter with a conclusion, is a way to live our lives, right? Was it Mali? No, it was you. He explained it in different ways, in different words. No, not you. Not you? Page 49. Oh, Mali. Yeah, brief of the path, a way of life to be followed, practiced, and developed by each individual. It is self-discipline in body, word, and mind, self-development and self-purification. So, self-development, self-improvement, and self-purification. So it has nothing to do with just prayers and worships, rites and rituals, and threats, and fear. That's it. Anybody else have anything to say about this chapter? So we all have learned about the Majjhima Patipada. So 4 Noble Truths actually is the core teachings of the Buddha, and the very, very important teachings, and actually very difficult teachings. Don't just look at the words; they are so simple, but yet the core is actually very, very, very difficult to practice, to be really to implement it into our life. If we could actually always remember the 4 Noble Truths and always carry that when we deal with people, when we deal with our life, when we deal with situations, oh, you are a great practitioner. You'll be a great practitioner. So bear in mind, in the old days, the Buddha didn't start teaching the Four Noble Truths until people have a little bit, a little bit advice. So he taught people how to develop in generosity and morality before he actually started teaching the Four Noble Truths, because it's too deep and too advanced and it's too difficult. Especially as householder, is even more challenging. All right, anybody else? No? Okay, all right, then let me do some announcement. There will be this Polam Sunday morning meditation will be opening up, not just for the COVID people anymore. We call ourselves the COVID people because it started during the first year of COVID and it went on until now. So we are going to open it up on the 21st of April. We're going to open up this Sunday morning meditation, half-day morning meditation for new people to come in. So if you and your friends would like to join in Zoom, or you want to join in person, then you need to email us. If you you still have to fill up the form, the Google form. Just scan this. If you have difficulty doing all this QR code, which I don't know how to do, please call Polam. We may be able to send you email Polam, polam@polam.ca, okay? And then this is not confirmed yet, but I just want to use this poster just to remind people that we have a Buddha's birthday coming up in May. And so May 12th, we have in the morning, we have a Buddha's bathing ceremony. And then in the afternoon, we will have an open house to this new Polam. So everybody, please also look at when the poster is out. It should be out in a couple of days. And of course, on the Buddha's birthday, there will be offering of flowers, offering of lights, and offering of food, or offering at your own, offering at your immeasurable joy of donation. Just any offering. Okay. All right. And I am going to take a break of teaching in the month of May, June, and July, right? Because it's just too much work coming all together. So I am taking a break from teaching. So we just finished Four Noble Truths. Next time when we come back, we'll start on the next chapter. But go back and reread those chapters that we have studied, and hope that you will have more inspiration and more awakening. These books are needed to be read over and over again. Every time you read, you will have a little bit of more understanding, and you see, wow, I never understand it in that way. The more you practice, the more you read, they all support the Patipatti and the theory part, and the Pariyatti, and then the Patipatti also, all support each other. So keep reading them. Don't feel that it's so boring to read one book over and over again. I tell you, if you could read this book, just this life, read it over and over and over and over again, and practice and practice and practice, I'm sure you'll get to somewhere at the end of this life, or not. You don't need to wait until the end of this life. Okay? So, and then, but every Tuesday evening, the group meditation on Zoom will still go on. Maybe once in a while, when I'm up to it, I may come up and say hello to you, and say a few words. You never know. So there are two meditation sessions, 6 to 6:40 and 6:50 to 7:30. All right? Any questions? Nope. Okay, so we will dedicate our merits. For all the benefits and merits that we have gathered tonight, may we share with all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May more and more people will encounter the wise words of the Buddha, study them, understand them, and practice them, so that they could come out of their own sufferings and be ultimately free and happy and peaceful. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. And take care of yourself. Take care of your mind. And be well and be happy.
Thank you.
Appreciate Sifu.
Good
Bye,
night.
Sifu.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Thank you. Good night. Bye. 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 Good night. Bye-bye. Good night. Bye-bye. There, they leave. Phong King's still there. Bye-bye, Phong King. They're still waiting for me to go. So polite. Good night. Bye-bye.